Here we are, we're back again. Mike, let's talk about the Saints this time. We didn't talk about them a whole lot yet, so
we'll move on.
Their injury report is pretty short. They're probably looking at Malcolm Jenkins, might be bothered by a hamstring. Jeremy Shockey's a big question with his knee. I mean, he'll probably wind up playing.
Yeah, he didn't play in the last Super Bowl, so I don't really care if he plays this.
And I mean, two other big name guys for the Saints, Robert Meacham and Darren Sharper. I mean, personally, I think Darren
Sharper, he's gonna play. Robert Meacham's gonna play. I think they're all gonna play. Personally, I don't think, unlike the Colts, I don't see any of the Saints missing this. Honestly, as much as I don't like him, Jeremy Shockey, he's gonna play.
No matter what they're gonna play. I mean, it's the Super Bowl. Anyone's gonna want to play.
If you're questionable, you're playing.
Yeah, of course. Which, even if White Freeney is doubtful, he's playing.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a matter of he'll be limited, and his backup, Raheem Brock, will be the guy to fill in for him.
But you know, the Saints got a lot of question marks. If you ask me, that defense it's very questionable on any given Sunday.
They can be explosive because they have a very good
turnover ratio.
Turnover ratio, yes, very good. But you can't really judge a defense based off of a turnover ratio.
I have to say, I do like their linebackers.
Yes.
Jonathan Vilma, Scott Fujita.
Yes.
You know, they're pretty solid linebacker core. Their defensive front's semi-decent.
Will Smith, he's probably their best guy on the defensive line, I would think, no?
But I do definitely view them as an upgrowing team, and I can't say many great things, but I can't say many like, oh my God, they're absolutely horrible, they have no right to be here. You know, they got there. They deserved it, but I think, though, the Colts will outnumber them in many ways with defense and offense. I just don't see the Saints having enough. I just don't see it. I mean, everyone's talking about, well, I'm so happy that the Saints are in it because it's, you know, with the whole thing with Katrina and stuff like that.
I do agree. It is a very good story. And personally, as far as just rooting interest in the Super Bowl, I mean, I don't know. This is really the first year in a while I'm really not like overly excited to see a certain team win. The past, I can even go 10 years. There's at least been a team in the Super Bowl where I've been like, you know what, all right, I kind of like some of these guys, but like, you know, it's like the Colts have been there, but the Saints, I'm sick of hearing about them. I don't, you know, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
But like last year was, you know, Arizona, you know, just an example. You know, of course the Giants. But it's just every year now. I don't find myself really rooting hard for a team.
Well, it's a toss-up. I mean, it's very hard. If you're an NFC fan and let's put it like this: if you're a Vikings fan, you're gonna root for the Colts. If you're a Jets fan, you're probably gonna root for the Saints. That's pretty much what you look down to because of the championship games. But you know, pretty much when it comes to Super Bowl time and you don't have a team in it, you know what you root for? You root for your numbers. That's all you root for. You root for boxes and your numbers. You know, I know I will be, but I know what team I'll be rooting for. But the Saints, I mean, they got a lot of question marks. I don't know. Their offensive line shows a lot of strength.
Yeah, but I think just Drew Brees' quick decision making and just how good he is will negate the fact that, like I said, if Dwight Freeney doesn't play and you give Brees an extra second or two to throw the football because the pressure's not going to be as quick to him, he's going to burn you.
What about Reggie Bush? I mean, everyone was talking about how good he was against
I think he's very good with intangibles. I think he went, obviously looking back on it, went way too high in the draft. But I mean, you can't even say that.
Well, at the time, his stock was very high. He looks like one of the best players.
But as far as just punt returners, he's very explosive. He can take one in the house. But as far as just your runner, he's not going to give you. He's not that type of player. I mean, look, college is very different. USC, especially a USC team where, at the time he played, the Pac-10 was very weak, and it was just USC dominating every year.
Yep.
That was how they got there. So, of course, Reggie Bush is going to burn lesser defenses in college for constant 50-yard runs. He's not going to do that much because the NFL, obviously, you have better players. And, you know, just it's not the same. And Reggie Bush, he's still a good player. I don't see him being on the Saints next year. I see him being elsewhere because they like Pierre Thomas. I think they like Mike Bell even enough to not have to pay Reggie Bush the money he's probably going to want.
Well, the money is going to want a different story, but I think that Reggie Bush is a great player as well.
Yes.
But it's confusing with Reggie Bush because he's one of those players. Well, he'll have a great game like he did against Dallas in the playoffs,
and then everyone loves him again.
Yeah, everyone loves him. Oh, Reggie Bush. But then it's like he has a game against Minnesota. It's like, well, where did Reggie go? You know.
Because he's almost overshadowed. The Saints have 4 different wide receivers that they can rely on. How many teams have that? You have Marcus Colston, Devery Henderson, Robert Meacham, and Lance Moore, who all have the ability to be a number 1 receiver. Those 4 are probably the worst 4 fantasy football receivers ever, because Drew Brees picks a different guy to throw to every week.
It's just like when you pick up a Colts wide receiver. I mean, you're more than likely reliable with Reggie Wayne, but I do believe though
the Saints have a good problem offensively, I think.
And I mean, you can't forget about Jeremy Shockey being in the tight end. I mean, the guy's got hands of steel. You know, he's pretty solid. He's just very injury prone, but Reggie Bush is very overshadowed by Mike Bell and Pierre Thomas. I mean, as much as that, I'm not convinced of their run game, but I'm not saying the run game's bad. I mean, I looked at the Buccaneers' run game as going into the season as a decent one, but knowing that, looking at Derek Ward's injury history,
Cadillac Williams' injury history,
and Cadillac Williams and Ernest Graham, was he still on the Buccaneers?
Yes.
You know, all these guys have a history of injuries, but so it wasn't convincing enough to me to actually believe when they signed Derek Ward that, oh, now they got a good running back corps.
Yeah.
So, and that's how I kind of look at. Obviously, it's different without the injuries, but that's how I kind of look at the Saints. You know, I'm not convinced with their running back corps. I don't think Pierre Thomas is as good as everyone may think he is. Mike Bell shows what he did in Denver was, you know, at times
one good season.
Yeah, where he had one good season, but then he'll show you at times where he could be good, but then shows you why he's not in Denver anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then Reggie Bush is a constant question mark.
Denver usually trades their 1,000-yard rushers away the next season.
Usually. You know, no, Sean, just know that you might not be there, but...
But yeah, the Saints, you know what? Great offense. But I think the weak defense is either, I mean, yeah, it's going to come down to your secondary making the play and getting your front 4. I think if you can take a page out of the Jets playbook, don't blitz as much as the Jets tried, because the Jets constantly blitz. Peyton Manning read it perfectly, and he's able to get the ball off.
Well,
if you constantly change the way you play your defense, you got to confuse Peyton Manning, which is a very tough thing to do. The Saints have to rely on their front 7.
Aside from Cedric Ellis, do you think there's anyone on that defensive line that can get into that pressure of the...
Cedric Ellis and Will Smith are 2 better guys, but other than that, not a lot. It's like I said, it's going to be the linebackers, and like I said, they shouldn't blitz. They need to protect the pass, because I think the Saints have enough to stop the weak run game of the Colts. It's going to be about stopping the pass.
Well,
if you're the Saints defense,
you know what?
If you're Greg Williams and run your mouth, you just shut it and tell your team to stop the pass.
Of course, I look at the Colts having a great pass game. Just like this is one thing about these 2 offenses. They both have great pass games, and this year the Saints having a little bit more towards their run game, a better run game, but they're not strong like a Minnesota Viking run game.
Yeah.
So I'm not convinced that the Saints have enough, though, in their run and pass game to go up against a defense like the Colts, because who gave up the fewest amount of points this year. But I do think that as far as the Colts go, yeah, their run game might really hurt them. I mean, Joseph Adai, he had one great year rushing, but, you know, obviously it said a lot when the Colts drafted a running back in the first round. You know, and unfortunately he's been bugged by injuries this year, but, you know, when Adai got hurt early last week, and Brown came in, and he looked like a first-round pick.
Yeah, which is what you're supposed to do.
And in the playoff football.
Quick. So my keys to the game: front 7, shut down the pass.
Be right back.
Enough said. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, our Super Bowl picks, and we'll talk about what these 2 Super Bowl teams can do to improve themselves in the draft.
Be right back.